Hello, hello, hello. My name is Lance with NoStigmas,
And I'm Maggie with NoStigmas.
and we are here today to talk to you about Mental Health Action Day. We are usually behind the camera, behind the keyboard, but today we thought we would take action of our own and step into the light to share with you some of our personal lived experiences and how they relate to the mental health work that we do here at NoStigmas.
We're also going to be reacting to some representations of mental illness, some that are positive and some that we think have some challenges to them.
And today we're going to be looking at some workshops and programs, highlights that we do here at NoStigmas so that we can help you answer some of those questions and give you the solutions that you're looking for. And we hope that you're ready to jump in. Maggie, are you ready to get started?
I am ready to get started, Lance. These are the personal opinions of members of the NoStigmas community of advocates speaking to their lived experiences with mental health, just as they would in our blog, podcast, or any other media per our terms of use at nostigmas.org/TOU. We are proud of their visibility in sharing their stories, not as clinicians or doctors, but as resilient human people.
So, Maggie, what are we going to be talking about next?
So this next section here is, I definitely want to disclaim before we start that a lot of the clips that I'm about to show, they're from TikTok, and they're from some TikTok users that I'm sure the intentions behind these videos were very positive, and they were definitely trying to be advocates or be allies for the communities that they're talking about in these videos. But one of the biggest things that, and we just talked about here, is that you really have to disclose, I'm not an expert in this. I may not even struggle with this. This isn't, something that I can personally say is true. It's, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. I can't say that this is accurate. So there's just a lot of, I believe that self-diagnosis is a thing, and I definitely believe, especially in America where it's hard for people to get access to healthcare sometimes, it's definitely possible to self-diagnose, but you really have to do the proper research, and you really have to work at understanding yourself.
Yeah.
And so watching a quick video online, as you'll see in these upcoming clips, you just can't base a diagnosis off of something like this.
And of course, we support advocacy. So, we support the intention behind these creators, and they're not entirely wrong. They're not entirely, they note some things, I'm sure, that are helpful, but
yes,
it's not the whole picture, and it's a 10-second clip. So you have to be very, very careful. Be very careful with what you take, as they always say, with a grain of salt.
Yeah, so, and also understand as a creator that anybody in the world can see what you post online. It's not privately accessed by the certain group of people that you're trying to target in these videos either. If a young person who's struggling with something sees this, they may get the wrong idea. So as we talked about, when you're younger and you don't have the right words, you don't have the vocabulary to articulate what you're going through, or to realize that it is something, then yeah, it can be very harmful for the younger generation, I think.
Yeah, they really can.
These are very commonly seen on TikTok and what we call mentally ill TikTok or mental health TikTok, which there is a whole side of TikTok for that, which is awesome. But the messaging in some of these videos either just doesn't say enough or says it in a way that could be misinterpreted. So we kind of want to just take a look at these and keep in mind, we really do support that these people are trying to be advocates, but there are maybe some better ways that we can go about sharing this type of information.
Again, just a quick disclaimer. These are just our opinions. We're not doctors. We're just everyday people, but we are sharing our opinions with you today from the heart.
We see the classic put a finger down challenge. And if you're familiar with TikTok, you know all about this. It's always some sort of niche that a community will put together about put a finger down if you feel XYZ. And with this, we are seeing things that are seen as symptoms of anxiety that can come from anxiety, but they are presented in a way that says, if you say yes to 8 or 9 of these, I think it said, you have anxiety. And if you say yes to more than 4, then you show signs of anxiety. And I don't agree with that, because I think that anxiety presents differently in everyone. And there are so many different types of anxiety disorders out there. And they all stem from very different experiences as well. So saying that if you experience this, congratulations, you have anxiety. Somebody is scrolling through and
In 10
agreeing or
seconds.
identifying
In
with some
10
of
seconds
them.
have identified something that may not even be true, or may be true
Exactly.
and they're not equipped to deal with it, you know?
Exactly. Or someone seeing that and having anxiety and being like, oh no, all of these things are things that are wrong with me. Because they're also presented in a way that's saying that this is a bad thing that you do. And I just
That
don't think
is
that,
so right. That is
yeah,
so true. How
yeah,
we point out things that are like, ah, man, that's so perfect. It's like, yep, you have something terrible.
yeah. Like this is abnormal. This is weird. This is why you're
Other. This is
abnormal.
other. This is
Right.
otherness. Here we go. You're over
Yeah.
there. We're over here. It's like
Yeah.
no resources, no support, no context,
Yeah.
no.
No disclaimer that says these are just symptoms that I've researched and this is not necessarily a diagnosis. Well, clearly it's not necessarily a diagnosis, but the people who are using TikTok are often 11, 12, 13 years old and are going to go up to mom and dad and say, I have anxiety. And it stirs a pot that doesn't need to be stirred. And on the flip side of that, I think that um, if you see that video and it makes you really think about those things that are happening, you identify with a lot of them, and then you think, oh, maybe I could have anxiety, and then you go through the proper steps to
Right.
figure that out about yourself. That's a different story. But I feel like in this,
And these creators could do that.
yeah,
There could be a swipe or click through to my next
yeah,
post or my next reel or whatever it may be that's
right,
showing you where or how.
right.
You're just
So
leaving
again,
people hanging. You're just leaving me hanging with this like dread that, oh great, now I have X.
exactly. And like we talk about with advocacy and action, there is no action to follow up what's being said in these videos. So it's hard to see that as advocacy, um, as just a watcher just scrolling through.
Right.
It would leave me with a very concerned feeling about,
Right.
well, what's going on with me without really knowing what to do afterwards. The clip about depression is a little bit of the same thing. I think mostly the problem I have with it is the verbiage of just saying, if you identify with this, if this applies to you, you have depression. And I don't agree with that. It's the same thing that we just talked about with
Yeah.
anxiety. Just a young person who maybe doesn't know enough about depression but has certain feelings and identifies with certain things in the video, you can't base a diagnosis or you can't base your evaluation of what you're feeling on a 10-second video on TikTok.
But
Like
just being responsible content creators is, I think, a really good theme that you're bringing up, and I think it's very, very important. Which actually I was going to just chime in here as well. That reminds me, we do also have a Youth Matter workshop.
Yes.
This one is really cool because, very similar to the workplace, it is talking about how do we support young people. Right now, the program really hits at that middle school and high school age, where you're starting to sort of maybe come into some mental health challenges and maybe you don't have the vocabulary for it. But it also really targets the people who support youth. So we're talking, educators, school administrators, people who are around youth, anywhere from just you volunteer at the local Y, or you're having interactions with youth. How can you be an advocate for them? How can you be aware of what maybe they're going through? How can you really show up for them? Scan the QR code that you see on the screen. It'll take you to our website, NoStigmas.org, where you can fill out a quick contact form, check a couple boxes, and let us know what you're interested in learning more about. The workshops are an absolutely fantastic first start. Really hope that you enjoyed our personal stories, our lived experience. Hopefully it inspired you, helped you, gave you some light. Thank you so much for being with us. Maggie, any final words?
Happy Mental Health Action Day!
Yay! Take action, and don't forget, action can be sharing your story. Action can be taking a workshop. Action can be donating. Action can be just sitting at the kitchen table talking to family about something uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you all. Be well, be safe, and we will see you soon. Bye.
Bye.